What's the biggest red flag you've ignored because the sex was good? Probably the plethora of empty wine bottles around the apartment. And the knowledge that she'd just gotten out of a long-term relationship. Somehow it never dawned on me that I was the rebound guy. I got to be that guy recently. It fucking sucks. We talked for a month online. She felt like the best friend I never had. Constantly sent pictures of our lives back and forth. Show up at her place to meet her. She's been drinking for a while but seems okay. She was in the hospital the next day with alcohol poisoning. I've got my own drinking issues. But I can generally keep it under control pretty well. After that, she pretty much admitted she wasn't over her ex and we agreed it wasn't the right time. She basically told me she might cheat on me if she had the opportunity with her ex. It was my first relationship and I was as stupid as can be. Well, at least she was honest about being a piece of shit before you had to find out via heartbreak. We were in a hotel and she would just keep screaming at the top of her lungs. I kept telling her to quiet down. But instead that only turned her on more. Only continued because she was my girlfriend at the time and it was pretty good sex for me as well. Dated a chick who was an opera singer for a while. Man would her voice carry. Was hooking up very casually dating a guy, an idiot, I'd met on Tinder. I had a cat at the time. And was leaving for a long weekend so asked him to feed the cat. I came home and he had moved into my apartment. Like fully moved in. His clothes in the closet. His sheets on my bed. He'd brought furniture from his parents' house. And he put his high school hockey trophies on display in the kitchen. We were 26 and 27. I regret to say it lasted several months. But it did not end well. What a dick. Pun very much intended. Had an affair with a married woman. She left her husband for me. Married me. Then cheated on me. If that isn't karma IDK, what is? His ex kept showing up at his place. Come to find out months later. They were still together and just fighting. And I was the unwitting other woman. Before my wife and I got together, she was dating a guy who pulled this. But it gets worse. At the time I was still attempting to be friendly with an ex of mine. She talked a lot about this guy she dated for a while who was cheating on his long-term GF all along. Then best friend, now my wife, started talking about this dude she was seeing and suddenly too many things matched up. After asking for more details and comparing stories, I put it together. This dude was playing the field so hard that he was dating his girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend. And my future wife at the same time. Eventually all three of them got in touch with one another and tormented him for a bit before presenting their evidence and bailing out. That one was fun to watch unfold. Not caring that I hadn't gotten the results back from an STI test after I was sexually assaulted. She got annoyed because I told her about a coworker who felt bad about cheating on her BF. She said, "Just keep shit on the DL. Nobody has to know if you keep your fucking mouth shut." Immediately knew someone else was deep in her guts. She stared at herself in the mirror during sex. Fully moaning. And coming. But would never break eye contact with herself. Even when I stuck a finger up her ass. She called me the N-word all the time. We are not black. I had a friend who was dating a very sweet black dude. She called him the N-word constantly. He was too polite to ever correct her. She ends up pregnant by cheating her ex-BF. And the day he was gonna propose, she dumped him and told him she was pregnant by the other dude. Broke the poor man's heart. He stopped taking care of himself and sadly he passed away about 3 years later. She told her friends and family that she got pregnant and lost the baby when we weren't even having unprotected sex. I mean, we were 18 and dating for like 6 months. So that wasn't even close to being on my radar. When I found out through a mutual friend, I laughed it off and didn't think much more of it. I mostly ignored it because I was 18 and regular sex was a nice thing to have. It took a few more blatant red flags before I pulled the plug. A fun little bonus detail, when I broke up with her, she told all her same friends and family that she was pregnant again and I bailed on her and the baby. This one also resulted in a miscarriage. I lost a lot of good friends from her lies. Also, in hindsight, the sex was average. He told me he didn't smoke cigarettes when we met, and then a week later he did because his friend started up again and needed emotional support because he didn't want to smoke alone. He also straight up told me that if this one friend didn't like me, then I wasn't allowed to be his girlfriend. It red flagged a bit in my mind because I was like, what's up with this control freak friend, and why do you obey him? And then I just ignored it for 6 months. His friend would almost never speak directly to me, but I was always getting. Friend says you don't have to hang around if you're not going to play beer pong for 3 hours for the 4th time this week. Or, we don't have enough controllers for the Wii U. So if you want to play. Friend says you have to buy your own controller because we can't share. Friend says that you and I can't hang out today because he's upset about something. Etc. Anyway, whatever the deal was with this friend, the smoking thing was definitely in part an excuse. Because it quickly became clear, another red flag that I ignored, that he was an addict. He literally needed to smoke something, either cigarettes or weed resin. But usually weed. Like every 45 minutes to an hour, and we couldn't go anywhere because he'd start getting cranky. Not like he ever had money to go anywhere because he had like a dragon's hoard of weed to maintain. Anyway, he ghosted me, because his friend told him to. I'm sure. I was devastated lol. She cried when I just wanted to make out after our first date. She said I wasn't serious if I didn't want to fuck her. She was 46. And hot as fuck. I was 31. Cougar time, so I fucked her. And the sex was great. But she was fucking crazy and I bailed after about 5 months. He would let his garbage overflow and never take it outside. His kitchen was gross. So much drug abuse. He was a plug. Dated again. Within a week he was sending me pictures of him slitting his wrists and saying he could get anybody killed. I ran like hell. She and her little brother always seemed suspiciously close. Not like super nice to each other. They just had a weird dynamic. Like he would hear us fucking through the wall and bring it up casually the next day. And they would both just laugh and make creepy jokes about it. After we ended, I was convinced they were fucking each other. To be fair, I've never heard any corroborating evidence. But I'm still not unconvinced. Just like this girl I was seeing. She wouldn't stop talking how hot her younger brother was. All her profile pictures were with them snuggled up and her wallpaper was a picture of him shirtless. I don't get it. When she wife of 20 years kept asking for specific things like, finger me like this or, grab me here when you fuck me like that. Yeah, of course she was getting those ideas from her boyfriend. Marriage, always riding that fine line between, this again, and, where the hell did you learn that? His tattoo of an anthropomorphic pickle smoking a joint. Think towelly. But a pickle. All of the lying and bragging about how good she was at it. Manipulations. Caught her in a lie, then caught her cheating, and I still didn't wanna let go. That shit hurt deep for a long time. In private we had outstanding sex, and in between. We talked constantly, but in public, including around our respective families and/or friends, it was literally like I didn't exist, to the point where people frequently wondered and asked out loud if we were even dating or if we were faking it just to be funny. I used to have a subscription to Playboy before I met this girlfriend, and I'd leave them on top of the toilet for reading material before cell phones. One day after getting situated on the throne, I opened an issue and discovered my sweetie had taken a permanent marker and covered all the naughty bits on every nude picture, even the tiny ads in the back. It must have taken her hours to do all the issues. My GNPA told me a story from when he was in Vietnam. How my grandma sent him a Playboy, and when he got it, all the soldiers gathered around to see. When he opened it though, my grandma had glued clothes from Style magazines on top of all the ladies. He just threw it away lol. She was a super good looking woman and a great body. I met her while running a hotel in Nebraska. Unfortunately she was an alcoholic. She tried to hide it at first, but after 2 months it got worse and worse. She would then lose her shit on me when I would bring it up. When I finally explained that it was best we part ways and that she should consider getting help, she said she was pregnant. Well, 14 years of paying high child support will make you trap shy, and I hadn't actually slept with her yet. So I told her to call me in 9 months. She never called. She was in recovery for drug addiction. Told me she loved me after less than a month of dating. Went back on it and said it was because she was sleepy from melatonin. But then genuinely said it again within a week. Lol, but she was a freak in the sheets and had a nice ass, so I went with it. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.